All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, man. Today we got it's a Woj bomb. I think it's a Woj bomb. Apparently, the Brooklyn Nets actually have interest in a James Harden for Ben Simmons swap. I mean, apparently the Philadelphia 76ers have been interested in James Harden for a very long time. Us Rocket fans know. Obviously Daryl Morey was interested in James Harden back when James was still on the Rockets, but he ends up getting traded to Brooklyn. And if you guys have been watching my channel for a minute now, you know my thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets, man. Not only are they so injured all the time, but they will never win a championship even if they are healthy. It's just the cold hard truth that I hate to tell you guys, but you can't just build a big three and then not properly build the remaining pieces around them and expect a championship. I love Kyrie Irving, I love James Harden, and I love Kevin Durant. And typically that big three would be enough to win a championship. Maybe last year, but this season, from what I've seen from the Brooklyn Nets, there is an absolute 0% chance, in my opinion, that even a healthy big three Nets, a fully healthy Nets team wins the finals. I refuse to believe it, man. A lot of it revolves around James Harden. A lot of it revolves around Kyrie Irving not being able to play half the basketball games that are scheduled. That sucks. So it makes sense in my head that the Philadelphia 76ers and the Brooklyn Nets might actually have a Ben Simmons versus James Harden swap. But if you guys are new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button, man. Also hit that like button. Let's try and hit 50 likes on today's video. We're 2 subscribers away from 10,000. So if you guys are new here and you enjoy this video and you want more NBA content several times a day, be sure to hit that subscribe button. All jokes aside, with the Brooklyn Nets, this is very intriguing. This is very, very intriguing. My guess is that you would see a James Harden for Ben Simmons and Tyrese Maxey type of deal. I don't think Tobias Harris would be in that. Unfortunately for the Brooklyn Nets, I think that they really desperately need a player like Tobias Harris, just another piece that you can somewhat rely on. I don't think Tobias would be in that trade. I don't really know how a James Harden trade would work. I've seen proposed trades on Twitter and Bleacher Report, but judging from what I saw with the Clippers and Blazers trade today, where literally, dude, what are the Blazers doing? I made a whole video about that if you guys want to go check it out, but literally, what are the Blazers doing? There wasn't even a first-round draft pick involved in that. They traded for Norman Powell and gave up 2 damn first-round picks. What is Portland doing? But that's a big trade. That's a big trade because it's kind of the first look at the market. It's kind of the first look at the trade value market. So, obviously we have the trade deadline here in just less than 6 days. By the time most of you guys watch this, it might be 5 days away. Personally, I don't think a James Harden Ben Simmons trade comes to fruition this season. If my honest opinion is, I think Ben Simmons sits out the entire season. I think, as stupid and as stubborn as that is, I think that's what ends up happening. Philadelphia, thankfully, they have Joel Embiid, who's an absolute menace, and then they have Tyrese Maxey, who has been really just stepping up in wake of Ben Simmons. From Brooklyn's standpoint, I think it would be hard to trade James Harden this early on because I just don't think it makes enough sense to give up on this 1 year in. You haven't even had a full season together as a big three. Even if Kyrie Irving isn't playing home games, if he's unable to play home games throughout the playoffs, why would James Harden be the issue? I literally just don't understand. And if you guys have been subscribed to my channel for a while, I'm tough on James Harden, man. I'm very tough on James Harden. I think it's absolutely unexcusable to score 2 to 4 points in any basketball game ever if you're a quote-unquote superstar. Could you imagine if LeBron James, I don't give a damn he had over 10 assists. I don't give a damn if he had 8+ rebounds. Could you imagine if LeBron James, the best basketball player in the world, had 4 points one night? We would never hear the end of that until the day that man retired. Superstars, no excuses whatsoever, especially considering who the Brooklyn Nets were missing. There is 0 excuses to have less than 10 points in any game as a superstar. I don't give a damn if you're a passer. I don't give a damn if you're a rebounder. If you are a quote-unquote superstar, you need to have double-digit points every single time you step out onto the court. Inexcusable. So the way I see it is, yeah, maybe James Harden doesn't get traded this season or mid-trade deadline, but what would I imagine happen if you guys, were listening in the first half of this video, if you guys have been subscribed to me for a while? I don't think Brooklyn does anything in the playoffs. In fact, my preseason prediction was that the Toronto Raptors take down the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the playoffs, and low-key, it's looking like that is a very realistic seeding matchup. I wouldn't be surprised if the Raptors and Nets met up in the first round of the playoffs. But regardless, from what I've seen from the Brooklyn Nets this season, and it's specifically on the defensive end, it is almost 100% defensively. I understand Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Kevin Durant as a healthy trio can pretty much offensively win any basketball game they play in. Well, here's the issue. Kyrie sucks at defense. James Harden sucks at defense. So that's two big issues right there. So I don't think Brooklyn does anything this season. And when they don't do anything this season, what I think ends up happening is they decide, or maybe not Brooklyn decides, but I would imagine if we're already getting rumors that James Harden is open to a relocation in the offseason, I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to happen. James Harden is such a good basketball player that he deserves a championship. I want him on a championship basketball team. And Brooklyn, I like the idea, I like the concept, but LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin, they're just too old, man. They don't have enough defense to do anything significant in the playoffs. I'm sorry, Brooklyn Nets fan, I'm not trying to go at your guys' throat. The issue I have with the Nets is they could make some moves right now in the trade deadline. The issue becomes, who are they going to trade? And then who are they going to trade for? So if Brooklyn were to go out and make, say, 2 defensive moves or defensive heavy moves in the next 5-6 days, we might have a different conversation here. But what I think ends up happening is the Brooklyn Nets don't do much, if anything, at the trade deadline. Maybe the buyout market, they try and get one old head who's past his prime, just like last season. And what I think ends up happening is they lose in either the first or second round. And when they lose in the first or second round with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, even if Kyrie is only playing half the games, Kevin Durant and James Harden should be enough to at least make the Eastern Conference Finals as a duo, because they're 2 of the best scorers of all time. I think James Harden's going to want out. And when James Harden wants out, I think Kyrie Irving's going to want out. And then eventually you're going to see Kevin Durant want out. So what does that mean? Simple. The Houston Rockets fleeced the Brooklyn Nets, and as much hate as Rafael Stone and the Houston Rockets got in the coming days after the James Harden trade, where they got all these first round draft picks, and they're like, why would you want first round draft picks from the Brooklyn Nets? Teams don't stay together. Very few teams stay together. Championship teams don't even stay together all the time, most of the time. So what I think ends up happening is all of our terrible late first round draft picks turn into pretty lethal elite early first round draft picks. And I think the Houston Rockets are going to be sitting pretty draft-wise for the next handful of years, because Brooklyn, I think they're going to abolish this once they just don't exceed expectations in the offseason. I understand this might be a hot take video, considering, I got a Houston Rockets flag right here. A lot of you guys like James Harden and the Brooklyn Nets because of James Harden, but defensively, I just don't see it happening a championship. I just don't see it happening. Not at all. So hit the like button, hit that sub button. Like I said, we're 2 subs away from 10,000. So if you enjoyed this video, you like daily NBA content, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys later.